everybody. Welcome to Weekly Gab with Share Bear. Um, this is this is the last week before Halloween, so we're gonna get into some deep stuff today. Um, First of all, I wanted to um, talk about movies, um, and I had written a lot of movies down that will be good for this weekend. All right. Um, First one, some old time ones. We've got Candyman. Okay. If you have not seen this movie, you really, a matter of fact, I was sitting here writing some of these down, like, oh man, I have to go watch these again. It's been a long time. But it was inspired by a story by um, Di Baker, and it stars Tony Todd as a spirit who returns from unspeakable past to exact his revenge and justice on his death. So it's really kind of a creepy thing in how they do it. So that's definitely one. Then we have The Crow, Brandon Lee's movie, and we all kind of know the history about that. But and I know they had done a remake of it recently, um, and I have not watched it, but I've heard not so good things about it. So I don't know if I'm gonna watch it. So maybe you guys can give me your point of view on that one if you've seen it. But this takes place the night before Halloween, so kind of definitely one to be watching, I guess, on Halloween, right? Or even the night before. And is based on a novel by James Barr, and it follows a magician who was murdered along with his fiance and is brought back to life 1 year later by a mystical crow. So, like I said, I watched this years ago, and I need to watch it again because I remember it being like just an amazing feature. Um, and Brandon Lee, um, rest his soul, I think he would have gone on to be um, a pretty famous guy, that's for sure. He did great in that. And then there's an old time one, House on Haunted Hill. Now there's definitely one that was done back in 1959 with Vince Price. I have watched parts of it. I have not ever finished watching it because unfortunately that's one of them. And I like the classics. I like the originals, but this one I actually liked better as the remake. So that might be something you decide on which one to watch. They're both pretty much, I noticed even just a little bit I watched that they really did stick with the same, because I hate when they do remakes and like just change everything and different year or whatever, and it just doesn't seem the same. And mainly to stick with the times, and so I don't know, but it's a group of people who agreed to stay in a mansion overnight, haunted mansion, overnight, for, I think it's $100,000, but it's some amount of money, and so you have to watch what happens to them in the house and who actually survives and who actually um, is alive at the end. Um, Another one that I really like, and this is another one that I thought about going back and watching. This is a little bit newer. It's called The Invisible Man. Um, and I've watched The Hollow Man, and if I remember right, there was an older comedy type movie called The Invisible Man. I think I remember seeing it. Anyway, this one is nothing like that. It's a thriller. It is about a wife going through some hard times after her father or her husband passes away. And there's definitely some parts that freaky, and trigger warning for sure if you've ever been involved in domestic violence. Um, this might be a hard one to watch, but it it was definitely good. I was like, man, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I'd be definitely tripping out on this one if this happened to me. Um, the one I just watched last night. It's a newer one on Hulu. Is called Ready or Not, and I thought, oh man, this is gonna be like kind of good because it's kind of one of those game ones like Truth or Dare or Would You Rather. I don't know if you've seen those two, but those are good. You really have to watch them if you like those kind of movies. I loved those two. Um, there was another one I was thinking that had to do with like a game, but maybe not. Maybe I'm just thinking of Truth or Dare. Anyway, so I like watched this one last night, and I sat there and saw that it was on Disney Plus also, and I'm like, can't be that scary then. So, but come to find out, it was more of a comedy thriller, I guess you could say. I mean, it had its points, parts, and stuff like that, but also had some parts that you just like, oh my gosh, so stupid, or, I can't believe that these families doing this. But it's about a bride's wedding night. Because the family that she just married into decides that they have to play a game, or that she has to play a game, and to take her place in the family, I guess, to be accepted into the family. They choose a certain game to play. I won't go into details about how or anything like that, but it's just like, um, checkers or old maid or hide and seek or, those, because his family became millionaires because they were a big company that created board games and sport games. So it's kind of a tradition for them that somebody new in the family comes in and they play this game at midnight on the wedding night. So it wasn't too bad. Um, like I said, it had its moments, but it's probably not something I would go back and watch. But for a first time, it wasn't bad, really. Um, I'd probably give it a 3 out of 5 stars for that one. So, does that tell you anything? Then, of course, to throw in, there's, of course, a lot of kids' um, Halloween movies if you're looking for something for the family to watch. I mean, you got Hocus Pocus, Hocus Pocus 2, um, Haunted Mansion. Um, I mean, I can name quite a few, especially from Disney. I mean, they do a lot of them. But my favorite is Casper. I I grew up with, of course, the cartoon Casper the Friendly Ghost. So this was somewhat something that when it first came out, I definitely watched. Fun, loving, and spoiler alert if you haven't seen it yet, which I'm assuming you probably have. Um, but to be honest, when Casper turned into a real boy, I was like, oh, wow. If I was only 30 years younger, they really made a handsome boy, that's for sure. Um, but with the actors and everything in it, which of course doing this is not like my old show, so I'm not going to get into details about who plays in it and what all that stuff, but the actors and actresses in this really made it a fun time. I definitely would love to have a ghost in my house like Casper, or even his uncles that were there. Could be fun. Um, some of the some of the movies that I am not going to really get into, of course, but are definitely I guess you could say, famous for their time, or popular of rewatching or watching over and over again. Of course, all the Halloween movies. I mean, and I sat there and actually, I didn't write it down. I was sitting there looking around, and I seen a trailer for um, a new Halloween movie, and I'm not sure if it was real or not, because not too long ago I came to find out that there's trailers out there that aren't real. So yeah, but it's like Michael returns, or Michael is back, or whatever. So I kind of want to see it if it is real, but then I kind of don't. I've watched all of the new ones, um, with like HTO and stuff like that when Jamie Lee Curtis came back. Um, of course, I like that one, was probably my favorite, is HTO. The other two were okay, but it's like, okay, this is enough. Um, so I'm not sure if I like the idea of a new one coming out or not. But if you guys know for sure, let me know, because, like I said, sometimes I now like doubt myself on new movies and stuff like that when I see them just like through Facebook or online when I'm looking up horror movies or something, and they show all these other clips, and stuff like that. So definitely let me know. Another good one to go back and watch is the Scream movie. I would, of course, suggest the first one. Um, the rest just kind of, I don't know. Second one is okay, because at least there's, a reason for it, kind of, but it still just ain't as good. After that, they carry it on. It's like you have now kind of the same theme. I can't think of her name right now. It's in most of them, but it's like different killer after different killer. It's like, how many people want to kill this lady? So I don't know about the rest of them, but. And of course, one of my favorite, probably, and one of my girls' favorites, and they actually the ones that got me into it, because I never would have watched these movies until my girls, actually, and they were young, but they're like, "Mom, you gotta watch this movie." So I finally did, and that's the Saw movies. I pretty much like all of them. I think there's one or two, and I couldn't tell you near the end. I did like Jigsaw. Spiral, I don't remember much of, so I can't remember. But they're mostly one of those. Another one like Nightmare on Elm Street. Saw stuck um, to its main idea through them all, and I like that. Not like, Friday the 13th ones where you had Michael's mother on the first one, and then it was Michael, and then they weren't even in the camp anymore, and just like a whole bunch. Me and my boyfriend were just not too long ago doing a marathon of the Friday the 13th, and it's like, wow. I think we got to Jason and Michael in space, something like that, or Jason versus Michael, and we didn't end up watching that because we couldn't find it anywhere on the streaming services. But it's like, I was kind of done with those. They just got over too much, for sure. I don't know why they even bothered. Um, and again, like I said a minute ago, the Nightmare on Elm Streets. I personally like every one of these, um, except for Freddy versus Jason. I think is the one that he does. I didn't even watch it. It just like, yeah. But 1 through 6, I think we had, was great. Um, a lot of people I've heard, actually their favorite was Dream Warrior. I don't really have a favorite. I actually liked them all equally. I did not hate any of them. So I can't really. And actually, the last one that was in 3D, um, I actually watched in the theater. So it was my first 3D movie. Wasn't really impressed, but as far as 3D goes in the theaters, um, some others that I um, want to say is Us. Us is actually a really good movie. Um, it's kind of a little bit reminds me of The Strangers, which is another good one. You guys gotta watch The Strangers. Um, it's the first one is I mean, because it not only sits there and kind of scares you at some points, but I think what really makes it scary is this is something that could really happen. I mean, you could just be home and somebody come knock on your door, and next thing you know, you're murder victims, you know? So I think for me at least, that's what made it more intense, is because I knew this is something that could really happen. And what if this happened? You know, what would I do? Um, Another one that I just not too long ago watched is called Trick or Treat. Another good one. So check that one out. I believe it's on Netflix right now or something. Like I said, I didn't go into deep dive of sitting there. I just wanted to mention these to you guys. Um, and then, of course, as I was doing this, I was sitting here thinking, you know, a lot of these movies are older movies. And I wanted to do a little bit more recent. So I went in and I found some that came out this year, but I have not watched them yet. Either they haven't quite come on streaming yet, or they're just coming out in theater this year, or just came out, whatever. And one of them was Speak No Evil, and it's about this family um, that welcomes this couple into their home for just, you know, as a friendly thing. They met somewhere, and their little boy has some difficulties speaking. He either doesn't know how to speak or he has a disability. Not sure. You have to watch the movie to find out. So that one looked good. I really want to check that one out. Another one called Cuckoo. I'm definitely going to it this week. I'm going to see if any of them, I haven't looked them up, like I said, to see if they're streaming anywhere. And then there's The Stranger Chapter 1. Now, The Strangers Chapter 1 is supposed to be about how the strangers became strangers before they were strangers. So, it's one that I just don't think I'm going to really like, just because, like I said, The Strangers was so good for me that I don't know if I'm going to like it. But I am definitely interested in it and to see how they go about it and what they're doing with it. So, those are um, some of the movies. Also found, and these ones, I don't even remember what these ones were about. Oh, well, a couple of them. Sting is another, like, a phobia, I think, kind of movie about, you know, bees. Spiders. If you have a phobia of spiders, I was watching this trailer, and you definitely probably don't want to watch this one, because I think you would end up being all night thinking that there's spiders just crawling all around, and big ones. Um, the long legs, I'm sorry guys, I don't remember what it's about, but I can tell you that I write these down because they sound interesting, they sound fun, um, maybe even, you know, gooey, scary, something to frighten you type movies. So, and then there's Imagination, which is about a toy bear, imaginary friends, but scary. Sometimes I don't like it when they're, you know, about, you know, toys and real things that have around the house, you know? I mean, kind of like your clowns. I mean, I'm not too afraid of clowns, but they can be creepy in some of those movies. Um, Two of the movies I did watch that are on streaming right now are called Terra. Um, and that one is, of course, about tarot cards and a little bit of witchcraft, voodoo, you know, stuff like that. But it still was kind of cool to watch. Not that I'm against any of that. Um, if you know me, you know. And the other one I really liked was Watchers. Um, Now, this one's another, I mean, spoiler alert, I guess. I don't know what would really be a spoiler alert sometimes, but it's kind of like an invasion kind of movie, but it's not like World of the Wars or, you know, World War Z or something. I can't remember the other one. Or Independence Day. You know, you don't really see the aliens. So it makes it kind of interesting. Um, I mean, basically, it's about these people out in the woods in a, you know, confined to a certain building that are being watched and have to do certain things. They have certain schedules and stuff like that that they have to go by. And basically, it's these aliens are studying humans. So, um, it's a little intense, especially like I said, I kind of spoiled it at the beginning. You don't know who's watching. You have no idea what or who's out there. So that kind of makes it good. And the next thing I want to talk about is just Halloween altogether. Now, I wanted to go into a deep dive on the history and everything about Halloween. Unfortunately, I mean, unless you really wanted to know the dates and all of the religious people, I guess, churches and stuff that were involved in setting this up and stuff, and I just thought that was a little bit too much for this pot or this, you know, video anyway. That's something if you really wanted to look it up, you could go and online or even to the History Channel. I bet the History Channel right now is doing a lot of shows on Halloween and stuff like that. And so, you know, I figured, we'll go, you know, we'll say a lot, but at the same time, I'm not going to go too far into it. Um, so, Middle Ages, people celebrated the feast, or Samhain is what it was called, the Feast of Samhain, which falls on November 1st and which makes it the end of harvest and the beginning of winter months. Some of you may know it also as winter solstice, I think is around that time, maybe a little bit later. I'd have to look at my calendar. It's been a while since I've even thought about winter solstice or summer solstice. So I don't remember exactly. It could be earlier than Halloween. I really have to look it up. Anyway, um, they would also believe that during this time, the souls of those who had died or had been dead returned to visit their homes. And these who just died could cross over to the other side during this time. So they would, the Christians, I believe it was the Christians, some of them, would actually celebrate this time for those that had passed away that had done good in their life, had helped out people and stuff like that, and them crossing over. Um, and then, and like I said, I don't remember who actually had done this, but it was back in the, you know, Middle Ages, um, type, medieval type times. But they would build big fires to prevent the evil souls to come close. They did bonfires, um, is where, and that's where the jack o' lanterns come in. The light um, from the jack o' lantern is supposed to kind of symbolize the bonfires that they did back then, so that we can wear off the evil souls. And they would wear mask, usually made out of animal skulls, leather, stuff like that. Um, and then, and of course, that's kind of where our ended up coming over with the mask and the costumes and stuff, because these guys pretty much were dressed up um, and just evil stuff, kind of just to chase off all the evil spirits that they thought might come over, and to visit and roam the the area. So, like I said, if you want to go deeper than that, look it up online. You know how, and I'm sorry, this just brought up. You know how our parents used to sit there and say when we wanted to know something, well, look it up. Either dictionary or encyclopedia. Um, to me now, that's the whole online stuff. Seriously, if I don't know something that's going on, wondering, okay, why is this happening in my house, or who's done this, or whatever, I Google it. I Google it. Find the answer right there. So at this point in my life, I don't know what I would do without Google, especially since now I'm basically a single, woman on her own in her own house that has to sit there and take care of things herself. And then so the next subject, and I actually got into this um, pretty deep. Like I said, I wanted to get into a lot of stuff pretty deep. Being the last one for the month of October. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. Months too moving too fast, because now we will have Thanksgiving, and we'll get into that a little bit in a minute. Okay. So I thought about. I was looking up some games that you can play, and by now you may already be all set up for your Halloween parties. You may be already going somewhere, not even thinking about this stuff, but you can, if not, then here's some ideas. And if so, then maybe you can come back and maybe be refreshed for next year. Or even write them down and like get these ready for next year. Um, so I found a couple that were mainly outside. Now, if you're where I am, outside events for Halloween are may not all be the best, especially this year. We're expecting some snow like the day before Halloween, and the high is not going to be very high on the night. But that's what we usually get about this time of year, so it's not surprising. But I got a pumpkin sweep. Now, this looked kind of fun. I don't know. You might not want to use too big of a pumpkins, because I can just imagine trying to sweep those pumpkins across, those large ones, with a broom. And that's what you'll do is you can either get two teams, or you can do a singly, either way, but your two teams. The first person will sit there and sweep the pumpkin all the way over to the other side where you have your line and back, and then the next one in line will do the same, and you keep going, and whoever gets through their line first wins. And of course, if it's just the two people, if you just do singles, then it's whoever gets to the finish line first wins. So and another one that most people probably have done, so it's a more common one, and that's the mummy relay race. Basically, you have your two teams. Usually, I've just done two people, I think. I only remember having two people, two on each team. And one of them will wrap the other one in toilet paper as good as you can. And then once you finish that, then the ones wrapped up will run to the finish line. So whoever does that the fastest. And it's even fun if you sit there and put a little bit tougher rules on the older ones or something, that the ones at the end with the most toilet paper still on. Because I know toilet paper, especially if you're running with it wrapped up, doesn't stay on very well. So that could be another little add-on to there. Um, Now these ones I found inside, and the first one's called corn pickers. Now all you need for this is candy corn and straws. And what you do is you take the straw in the bowl. You have a bowl of candy corn. Take the straw, suck one up so it sticks onto the straw, and then you move across the room at a certain distance, and that will be your certain, I guess, debating on which one, how far you want to go. If you're playing with the kids or if you're playing with adults, you might want to do a different distance between that. And then you drop it onto a plate on the other side of the room. And the first one that has 10 candy corns on their plate wins. Um, and it's not as easy as it looks. I can tell you that. So that could be something kind of fun, a little bit different than just bobbing apples. I know that's a traditional one. I kind of tried to get something that maybe that we've kind of gone past to the bobbing apples. I still love bobbing apples, but some people may actually think that's a little bit lame anymore. I don't know. um, Another one I found is pumpkin pass. This one seems a little bit easy for me from what I saw online. And you just take a pumpkin and you pass it overhead. You have two lines, and you pass it over each other's head, and the first one that has the pumpkin at the end of the line wins. I thought that was kind of simple. That seems like it'd go too fast. It would always be kind of I don't know. I haven't tried it, so maybe it's not as easy as it looks. But I was sitting there thinking as I was watching it, maybe having people blindfold so they can't see where the pumpkin, you kind of just got to feel, for it or something. Make it a little bit harder. Um, so you guys will definitely, if anybody tries that or has tried that, you'll have to let me know how that worked out. What you do is you take a piece of regular paper and put it down in the chair in front of you. You get a black marker, or I guess you could use anything. Black marker is just easier to see. And they have to draw a pumpkin or jack-o'-lantern with their toes. Um, and the first one that does that wins. You can make it a little bit further, of course, and make it as the best one wins. I don't know. Um, the one I saw on a YouTube video that was doing this, she actually did it pretty good. I don't know if I could draw that good with my feet. So, then we have Pumpkin Stomp. Now, this is a definitely a kids' fun one. I don't know. I think it's more, I would say it's a more family type fun one. Who doesn't like to sit there and pop balloons? That's right, I said balloons. I mean, I know at birthday parties that's one game that people definitely do, or just the kids will sit there and go and try to pop all the balloons they can or whatever. But what you do is you get orange balloons, of course, because they're pumpkins. And if you even want to go a little further, you can draw little faces on them or something like that and make it really fun. And in one of the balloons, though, you will put a piece of paper with a prize in it. And then you have just go around and it didn't have a time limit on it. That's something you can actually maybe do, is see how many you could, they could pop depending on how many numbers, so you can keep track how many they can pop in a certain amount of time or something instead. But the object is to find the balloon with the piece of paper for the prize. And of course, the prize is all up to the host of the game. So there's that one, kind of seemed fun. And some of these I think you can definitely change up for different holidays. I mean, shoot, that balloon one you could do at a birthday party, like I said. Sit there and maybe have different colors for different teams or something, and have them separate in a little area or something, and have a certain amount, and whoever can pop the most of theirs, or whoever finishes popping all theirs. I mean, that's definitely um, one you could take further. And that's I always like about games is the ones you can change up, into whatever is suitable at the time. Another one that I thought was kind of fun, and it could be a family game, could be an adult game. Um, I would love to sit there, probably see the adults do this for sure. It's called Monster Mash, and for this you need to get, a music prepared or whatever. Do a Halloween playlist, like of course Monster Mash, Thriller, the Addams Family theme, just to name a few. And then you want to pick some objects out. Oh, and there's the Ghostbusters too. There's the one. But pick some objects out that maybe match that theme. You can do, for like Ghostbusters, do toilet paper. Because for a ghost, you can even draw on it to make it look like a ghost. Um, to like maybe some googly, eyes, balls, those like kind of decent sized little, what do they call it? Pinball, I think. Yeah, I think most of you would know what I'm talking about. I don't have, I don't have my co-host anymore to sit here and correct my speaking. So you guys sometimes will probably just have to deal with how my mind works. Okay? I'm sorry. Maybe one of these days we'll get them at least up here. So, um, but you can get the fake fingers for what I'm trying to think of what movies I just said. The Addams Family. Or you can use those pinball. Anyway, getting to the point, what you want to do is you and a partner um you put the item that goes with the song that you're going to be using at that time in between your guys' forehead, and you'll have, of course, probably different teams and stuff. It's kind of like a dance off, and you two have to keep dancing without dropping what's in between your head. Um, you don't, you can like, it can move and then you can put it back up or whatever. It just can't fall to the floor. And the last person in, still standing on that one, of course, wins. So that one's kind of fun. Like I said, it definitely, especially, pardon me, but if you're at an adult party and you guys all had a few drinks already, definitely get that on film, because that would be interesting. Because you can't really like move around. I mean, you have to like just kind of, what I mean. So, but you also have to keep moving until the song's over. Make up your own little dance. Um, so and then a mystery box. I think we've all kind of done some of these before, especially if you've done your own haunted house. I think you definitely, just set up some boxes, little shoe boxes or something. You can decorate them, cut a hole in them, put, things we all know, the grapes for the eyeballs, the peeled grapes, spaghetti noodles for, brains or something like that. Um, But when I was looking this up, I had found some stuff that I never thought about using. I mean, I don't think I've ever really played this game as an adult or had this game set up for my kids as an adult. But I did find some stuff that I did not think about before. And we have pretzel sticks for rats' tails, dried apricots for tongues, plastic fork tips, break off the plastic forks and they can be used as like teeth, vampire's teeth, to be exact. And then raisins for rat droppings. So there's just a few things if you hadn't thought about and you need more ideas for your boxes. Um, there's definitely that. They had suggested like pudding for mud. Um, but I don't know if I'd want a box for mud. Something I was like, I don't know if that's any fun. I mean, mud's mud. I'd probably just go out and get mud. All right. So those are some mentions for the games that I've come up with, and I hope you guys have some fun with those, especially and enjoy them, use them. If you've already thought of them, cool. Um, I don't always. Sometimes I'm a little behind in times, so I may not exactly know what's been out there for a long time. It may seem new to me, and it's been around for a century. um, so next, I want to go over our fun fact. Now, this time I decided to do a little bit more than just one. The first one I want to mention kind of relates, and that's why I thought about putting it in because it relates to last week's, which was the ketchup thing. Um, Heinz 57 doesn't actually have 57 varieties. I think most people know that. I don't think the name really tricks us any. Oh no, I never thought, oh, well, 57 means there's 57 varieties of ketchup in there. I didn't think that. But um, H. J. Heinz actually came up with it because he thought he needed a number behind the name. And 57 was a number he liked. So now, also about this, so it was just as simple as that. But if I'm pretty sure that Heinz 57 is still doing or has gone on with everybody else and doing plastic bottles now. But I did find out with the old glass bottles that that you shouldn't like. Remember when the bottles, just all ketchup bottles, you'd like have to pop on the bottom to get the to come out, the ketchup to come out stuff. And they say with these you're supposed to hit right on the number 57, and that's will get the not the bottom. So if they still, like I said, it's not actually one. I don't think it's actually even. Maybe we have it here in Wyoming. I haven't really looked at it because not again anything against Heinz, but I do Hunts, so there's a difference. So another something that somebody can let me know in the comments if they still do Heinz or if it's like just over on the east side of the country or the west, whatever, something like that. I know some of the things that do that. And then going into one of our fun facts is that for decades, officers would touch the car's tailgates that they pulled over, the tail lights. They would, touch it, kind of rub behind it, stuff like that, as they approached the driver's side to actually leave fingerprints. Um, so that if something were to happen to them, either, they got hurt, they got, taken, something like that, any of the crimes and stuff like that, there was proof that this was the vehicle that they had pulled over. Nowadays, they don't have to do that with, dash cams and all that stuff that just record. Um, it's a lot easier for them, so they don't do that anymore. But I thought that was kind of interesting. It's like I would have never known that. Of course, I wasn't then. I haven't really gotten pulled over, but I definitely don't think I've been pulled over back before they had dash cams. So that's something kind of interesting, I thought. Little fun thing. Um, and then I wanted a question like why do we wear the wedding ring on the fourth finger of the left hand? So it was a question I was like, never thought about it. But I definitely, would like to know why. I mean, why that one? I just always thought of it as the ring finger. You have different names for all your fingers and just never thought about it. But it says that it dates back to the ancient Egypt. Um, they saw wedding bands as a symbol of eternity, which I think is still definitely one that, the circle, eternity, we all still um, think of it that way. And they believed that there was a delicate nerve that ran from the ring finger on the left hand, and I'm doing the right hand. Anyway, all the way up to the heart. And they believed the heart was, how do you call it? Was the center of our emotions. Now, of course, nowadays the heart is just the main organ that pumps all the blood in our body. But that's what they believe. So that's why they would put the wedding ring on that finger, because it was eternally, and it would be on the finger that controlled the emotions, all of our emotions, because there was a nerve that would go all the way up to the heart. Okay, so I thought that was kind of interesting. It's kind of cool to think of it that way. I mean, scientifically, we know, like I said, that the heart does not control all of our emotions. But as far as I'm concerned, it definitely has a strong effect on our emotions. Um, I mean, we all know about heartache. Um, we all know how much we can love, and I mean, to me, that's definitely part of the heart. But we won't, that's a whole different thing of either scientifically or not, all that stuff that I just don't go into. Now, of course, thinking of all these, I had to get a Halloween fact in there. Fun fact. Now, I didn't want to sit there and do something that, was really like history type fact. I wanted to do some kind of fun facts. So I found out that the first jack-o'-lanterns were actually made from turnips. So they didn't have pumpkins; they used turnips. And um, kids trick or treating, 50% prefer chocolate as their treats, 24% prefer non chocolate, and 10% of children prefer gum. So maybe think about that. I mean, I don't know. I think all of us know that most kids prefer the chocolate. That's for sure. And the owl is a popular Halloween image. And in the medieval Europe, owls were thought to be witches. And to hear an owl call meant that somebody was going to die. So that was kind of interesting. Makes you kind of think of owls. I'm one of those kind of a superstitious type people, you know. I, kind of go out of my way not to walk under a ladder. Definitely try not to break any mirrors. Um, when my nose itches, it means I'm going to kiss a fool. When my ears ringing, somebody's talking about me. palm itches, you're going to get money, all that stuff. So to think about the owl in that way um, is kind of interesting. Anyway, so that was kind of our week this week. I think it's definitely been fun. I'm looking forward to playing some more next month with Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving not being as much of a big holiday. I mean, it's definitely a big holiday. It's a family holiday, but there's not much to do. It's basically food um, and customs, traditions, and stuff like that. So we'll go into a little bit of that, but I think, we will also just do some regular stuff on the side. Um, Maybe some updates on a movie I've watched recently. Maybe a couple of new TV series that are out or something. Of course, our fun fact. Um, but I think with the DIYs, we can still think of some Halloween or not Halloween, some Thanksgiving table sets or some Thanksgiving activities for the kids. As far as, I mean, we all know the you know the turkey hand drawings that your kids do. And they use their hand. That's the turkey. Those kind of things. But maybe we can find some other stuff to do out there. Some things to make your table look kind of nice and at least as simple as I can, because I do not actually do them and show them to you guys how to do them. Maybe we'll go on to that a little bit further down the line. That might be something I might do later on and actually show people, myself doing some of that stuff. Um, that could be interesting, trying to see what I can do. So we'll definitely work on some stuff, and I um, believe that it'll still be just as fun as this month's, um, and interesting and all that stuff. So make sure that you guys like the video, comment, subscribe, share. Um, Definitely get everybody involved. Leave me some comments. Like I said, share my videos with all your friends. And hopefully we're not all sitting here totally bored to death, guys. Hopefully you're having as much fun doing this as I am. I enjoy doing the research. I enjoy sharing the research with you guys. And until next week, we'll see ya. Bye.